And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I do apologize for unloading a massive, uncomfortable truth bomb on you. And I didn't even tell Crazy. I was like, all I told Crazy was like, oh, it's going to be a crazy conversation, I can tell you. But Crazy was like, yeah, let's get it all out. Like, I want people to see, like your true intentions, all that stuff. That's why I went cam up and all this kind of shit for you to see. Like, the body language is there and all this kind of shit as well. But hopefully he's enjoyed it, like I said, and it kind of gives you like the white pill to the black pill that some of you might have been thinking about taking and all this kind of shit. But ladies and gentlemen, we're fucking back, baby.
I think it's safe to say that our luck has officially turned around, guys. We are back, baby. We are fucking back.
We're back. Yeah. Classic. We are back. We are back.
We are back. Let's see who's in chat. We got Darth in chat. Is this a new song? This is the new Deductionist song, okay? So I think I'm going to use this as kind of like maybe the default for a bit, just so people get accustomed to it and all this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying, boys? You know what I'm saying? We're going to be doing this something a little bit more lighthearted as well. Like I said, something a bit more kind of educational, all this kind of stuff. We're going to be going through what is reason and why is it so important. And like I said, I'm going to be showing you my methods, which is basically we just run through AI. Grok in particular, it's just miles above everything else in terms of just being direct and being truth seeking and all this kind of stuff. We also have Crimea River saying this song smacks me and my cockatiel loves it too. Hey, my man, I don't know, it sounds a little familiar. I went with kind of like what was it, kind of like Sherlock Holmes kind of like style. That was kind of the main theme I was going with, and whacked into the Suno. And like I said, just kind of like I spent think about 3 or 4 hours going through about 10 songs and just slowly started eliminating them down and saying this one's kind of like the best, because particularly for like kind of repeating it or putting on loop, it was definitely the best one as well. That's why I'm not sure. Hey, my man, I like it though regardless. Hey, good to hear, you know what I'm saying? I feel like the violin part I recognize, but I could be wrong. Yeah, typically like any kind of like Sherlock Holmes kind of style and stuff like that. Definitely one. And also shout out to Shantae, like the motherfucking streams. Okay, got to get all the what's it called, the was it feedback or input or whatever the fuck the algorithm does and all this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? See, it works. The bullying works, Shantae. You know what I'm saying? Gonna try and hang around, but I have a feeling I'm gonna be asleep in an hour or so. 70 degrees tomorrow. Got to take advantage of and fill my meat freezer with some pan fish fillets. My man, my motherfucking man. I just accidentally invented a word, frustrated. I was describing myself. Yeah, frustrated, but you feel retarded at the same time. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I like it. I like it. Invent the new words, you know? Patient it. Or patent it, sorry. Patient it. Oh my god. I think I'm a bit frustrated as well. Didn't I by chatting it now on YouTube, so it's copyrighted? Hey, my motherfucking mind. Everyone should better their lives by buying fish rod and reel. Start tomorrow. $50 investment. Feed yourself for pennies, especially freshwater fish. Better than any restaurant. Well, you can't beat fresh fish. You know what I mean? The reason why I don't eat fish is because the beef is cheap. Beef is cheap over here. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing about Ireland is good beef at a good price. You know what I'm saying? Can't argue with it. Cannot argue with it. I think it's what? Wait, what's the price of my thing? One sec, let me check my thing, Bob. Yeah, so it's mine is €4.75 for 800 grams. I think that's about a pound, is it? One sec, let me do grams to LBS. And then if I do 800, yeah, so that's 1.7 pounds of beef, 20% fat beef for ground beef for €4.75. Add about a fifth onto that, so about $6. About $6 per pound, and it's good beef too, man. You know what I mean? That's the decent thing about Ireland is fucking cheap beef, boy. Tell ya. Do you think there has ever been a fresh start? Fresh start? I don't even know what that means, Start. Don't even know what it means. how did you invent the word? You know what I'm saying? A fresh fish, I get it for free. Hey, mom, man. 7 degrees sounds lovely. It's been cold and rainy this week. I'm over it. Same here. Don't move to Ireland if that's your case, Shante. It's fucking grey and piss and rain fucking 90% of the year. But we get 2 weeks. It's usually about 2 weeks of like good sun. You know what I mean? Like sun that you could actually sit out and tan under. You know what I'm saying? Best country on earth when that's the case. But just as well to run you through Tucker Carlson in terms of like this video epitomizes who Tucker Carlson is, right? So always, like I said, always be careful about people, double check, you know what I mean? Try to look at like both sides. Typically the best way of doing that is like to sit down and kind of like make your own kind of like analysis, see how you kind of feel about the person. Then go to someone who's like an avid fan and say, okay, what evidence do you have that they're kind of legit and all this stuff? Hear them out. Then go to someone who hates the cunt, and they trust me. They'll tell you, they'll have no issue telling you and all this kind of stuff. And then, like I said, make sure you're acting. Make sure you're asking for receipts and say what is the evidence? What makes you have this belief, or why do you hold this belief? Like I said, we'll get to the reason, all this kind of stuff. But this is who Tucker Carlson is.
Which is, you cannot mock other people's gods.
Remember, Easter? He was like, how dare you? The whole Greta Thunberg thing. How dare you mock other people's gods?
And put yourself in their place. Period. That is a deal killer for me. That's worse than the war with Iran, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I ask because, you've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
Easy. I've not said that. I've never said that Trump was the Antichrist.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in
Correct.
ceremony as president. You said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be
I didn't say that, actually.
the Antichrist? Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows? I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's just one, I actually tried to understand it. I may have said some are asking that. I'm not weighing in on that because I don't understand it.
And you see there, he gives the game away. I'm just asking questions. Other people have said that. Like, see the way that's the cover? So no matter what he actually does say, it's like, oh, like, what I meant was, people are asking that question. And I'm just reporting the questions. See how it works, folks? You know what I'm saying? Which brings us to the first episode of, what do we call this again? Study Stream. So if you have any debates or any prompts or any topics and all this kind of stuff, and as well, folks, just to remind you, okay, we do have a move that's available for any stream, but this one in particular is a stream that you'll probably get your max bang for your buck for this one. So it's $50 on the super chat, but it's $25 if you use the Ko-Fi or PayPal. Okay, you can force a topic if you have a particular question and all this kind of thing. You can use the PayPal or Ko-Fi. It's only $25 if you want a particular kind of like thing you want to research and all this kind of stuff. The whole chat always wins. So if you want to hijack the show and for us to research maybe a particular debate that was, coming up for you and all this kind of stuff, you want to investigate and all this stuff. But today's question, we start with, what is reason? Right? Simple, straightforward. You hit it with the El Groccaroni. And we get started. So, reason is the human and potentially artificial capacity to think logically, form judgments, draw inferences, and seek justifications based on evidence, principles, and coherent rules rather than emotion, habit, or authority alone. Right? So remember, like where I always talk about like the sheep and they just blindly follow and they never question all this kind of stuff. Or like if you're like emotional, like if like think back to like any time you lost your head or you got a bit too emotional, all this kind of stuff. You weren't being reasonable. Emotional people are not reasonable. You know what I mean? Oh, one sec. Like emotional people aren't reasonable. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it's a key thing that we need to make sure that we understand and we go through it. And if there's any questions in chat as well about reason, let me know. If there's anything that we cover, those questions aren't, you don't need to pay $25 just to ask a question. You know what I mean? But if there is a particular topic that you want me to go through for you, you just know what to do. It's at the bottom of the screen there. And again, if you use the super chat, it's $50. But if you use the PayPal or Ko-Fi, it's only $25, right? So core meanings. As a faculty, the ability to reason, to identify patterns. This is what the whole like pattern recognition is so important. That's why it's an IQ test and all this stuff. Evaluate arguments, solve problems, and distinguish truth from falsehood. So this is why it's such a key question to ask. Like, is objective truth thing is that real? Is that like actually a thing? Like, and from truth, and truth is what is, falsehood is what is not. And like think about like computers, true equals 1, true is, false equals 0 is not, right? It includes deductive reasoning, right? Think of like Sherlock Holmes, the deductionist, which is tomorrow's show. From general principles to specifics, right? To be able to speak in generalities and then to be able to speak in specifics. Inductive reasoning, right? From observations to generalizations. And abductive reasoning, inferring the best explanation, right? As a cause or an explanation, the reason for X means the why. Remember, why is probably one of the most important questions. It's also one of the shortest questions in the English language, at least. You know what I mean? This is why, like philosophers, it's always why. If you ever notice, like anytime someone says a statement or makes a claim, why? What is your reasoning? Okay? Or the grounds for X. And this is why they talk about like why grounding is such an important thing. Right? This is more everyday usage. As a verb, to reason is to engage in step-by-step thinking to reach conclusions. So this is the whole premise 1. Premise 2. Conclusion. In Philosophia, I'm in love with a girl named Sophia. Reason has been central since ancient times. And would you believe it? Our boy Aristotle, he's the one that formalized all this stuff. Aristotle called humans the rational animal. And again, this is the whole thing of like, you'll never see like a monkey make a fire. Right? You'll never see a monkey there like, you know, thinking, you know what? I think there's a better way to peel this banana. For him, reason enables us to grasp causes, ethics, practical reason, and science, theoretical reason. So again, like the science is like the logic, the ethics is the practical, you know what I mean? Or the logic and the empirical. Enlightenment thinkers like Descartes, Locke, Kant elevated reason as the primary tool for knowledge and human progress, contrasting it with dogma or unexamined tradition. Kant distinguished pure reason, theoretical understanding of the world, from practical reason, moral decision making. Okay? So I keep saying that, like, you know, like morality is not subjective. Morality is logical and it is practical. It is reasonable and empirical. You know, those words are interchangeable. Logic and reason, practical and empirical. The critiques. Hume argued reason is the slave of the passions. Postmodern and some feminist thinkers have questioned whether universal reason exists or if it's culturally biased. So again, this is why I say, like, these postmodernists, these retards, they need to be dealt with. Yet even critics rely on reasoned arguments to make their case. So if they try to make an argument that, there is no universal reason, this is typically what they do. Like, they'll throw something on top of it. They say, oh, well, universal reasoning, or absolute truth, or, hidden truth, or whatever the fuck, right? Reason is not infallible. It can be led astray by bad premises, cognitive biases, or incomplete information. But it is self-correcting through evidence, logic, and debate. And again, like, evidence is typically your empirical, it's your practical, it's your test data, it's all this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? In practice, good reasoning typically involves clarity about definitions and assumptions. So again, this is why you've all heard, like, Andrew Wilson. It's like, step one, debating a fucking lefty. You have to nail down definitions, and you have to hold them to these definitions. You know what I mean? The whole, like, they just basically make up their own definition kind of thing. And you can still operate within that framework. You know what I mean? So, like, you can point to a particular thing and say, well, this phenomenon, right? That, let's say, it's like socialism, and Destiny, like, the typical thing to say is, oh, well, that's not real socialism, or that's not socialism, or is it okay? Well, this phenomenon that does X, whatever you want to call it, whatever, because typically, like, their counter, if you watch enough of these debates on this kind of stuff, they'll just basically try to turn it into, like, oh, well, no, I'm just going to turn the whole debate into, well, you're wrong about the definition, this is why I'm right about my definition, and all this kind of shit. Like, okay, fuck the actual name of the word that we're using. Whatever this phenomenon, can we agree to this phenomenon of, like, what have you, like sterilizing kids? Can we agree that sterilizing kids is wrong? You know what I mean? Whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it the trans thing, if you want to call it transsexual, whatever the fuck. Can we agree that that's wrong? You know what I mean? Following valid logical structures, avoiding fallacies like ad hominem or straw man, right? And again, the key word here is valid, and we'll get into that in a little bit. There's valid, and then there's sound, right? Because valid is not like the 100%, the golden standard or whatever, but it's sound reasoning is what you want to be able to be 100% on. Updating beliefs in light of new evidence, Bayesian thinking is what that's called. And distinguishing correlation from causation, correlation from necessity, right? This is why a key thing, like, for example, when we get into, like, the sound reasoning where it's like, valid reasoning where it's like the conclusion necessarily follows. There's no other possible conclusion, right? And then intellectual humility, knowing what you don't know. This is the whole Socrates quote. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. What I was saying with Crazy earlier on, ego is your own worst enemy, folks, right? Reason and AI. My perspective. As Grok, built by XAI, what the fuck is this? I'm engineered to reason. To break down questions, weigh evidence, pursue truth, and aim for coherent, useful conclusions. Large language models, like me, simulate reasoning through pattern matching on vast data, chain of thought processes, and logical consistency. We don't have consciousness or innate understanding, but we can approximate rigorous thought and help humans extend theirs. The ultimate goal at XAI is advancing scientific discovery and understanding the universe, which is the ultimate exercise in collective reasoning. So this whole paragraph, yeah, cool beans. Cool beans, Clanker. Anyway, why reason matters. So the reason to reason. This is where we're going to get into a lot of fun phrases and terminologies. You know what I mean? What is the meaning of meaning? What does the word mean? You know? This is where, like I said, a lot of people, they're like, no, Terry, fuck this. I'm out. Like, this is too much. You're doing too much. Stop doing this shit. Without it, societies fall to superstition, authoritarianism, or chaos. Right? And remember when I showed you the... Where is it? Did I wipe this out? Oh, please tell me I didn't. No way. No way, dude. Oh, yeah. No. Of course I didn't. Of course I didn't. Remember when I went through this shit with you? I don't know if it was last week or the week before or something like that. But remember when I went through this with you with like Plato's in Plato's Republic? There's like the five stages of like societal decay. Oh, 1 sec. Let me do bada bing, bada boom. Just pop the leprechaun to the back. Remember when I went through this, which is like a week ago or so? And I was like, this is like this is like the most ideal form of like society and government and your human soul, what you want to orientate the individual and society towards. You know what I mean? Reason overall, aristocracy, the philosopher kings, sound reasoning is the argumentation used. And then like the worst form of society or government or individual is the tyrant or tyranny, where it's the only thing that exists is power. Yeah, because I said so. Like that's their argument, which is my body, my choice. I was born this way. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? This is where, this is why it's key to identify this shit and say, you know what? I'm out. I'm out of this bullshit. You know what I mean? So again, society's fault, the superstition, authoritarianism, or chaos, propaganda, all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Salem witch trials, all that kind of shit. With it, tempered by evidence and ethics, we build science, law, technology, and moral progress. Reason isn't cold or opposed to emotion. Emotions signal what's important, while reason helps navigate how to achieve what matters. And again, this is a key thing in terms of like empathy. Right? Why like it'll be practical, all this kind of shit. This is why, someone who, for example, like takes an innocent life, they're demoralizing themselves. Someone who defends themselves, they don't get demoralized. Dude that's in a situation where he has to defend his family from a home intruder, and he ends up killing the dude or whatever the fuck. Like there is that like necessity in the mind, like where it's like, yeah, no, like there was no other way. He was coming for my family. He had a gun. It was me. It was him or my family. It was necessity. There was no other conclusion. You know what I mean? You can live with that. Taking an innocent life, bro. Demoralization is a reason. It is a phenomenon for a reason. In short, reason is humanity's best tool for figuring what's true and what to do about it. It's imperfect, improvable, and indispensable. And this is where we say, tell me more. Typically, like, always a good secondary response especially when you're going into AI, because typically it has this kind of default where it's like it's going to give you like a short and concise one at the beginning, but then you have to make sure you drill down on it. So it's like that's kind of interesting thing about AI, where it's purely up to yourself how useful it actually is. All right, reason is one of the most powerful and contested concepts in human history. Here's a deeper dive. See the whole kind of like deeper dive aspect. Historical evolution in ancient Greece. You see the way it always goes back to the Greeks? Get them to the Greeks. Reason, or logos, that ain't a coinky dink. That ain't by accident. That isn't a coincidence, right? Was both the structure of the universe and the human ability to grasp it. Heraclitus saw logos as the underlying order of change. Plato emphasized dialectic, rigorous questioning to reach eternal forms. Right? Like the perfect form, perfect triangle, the perfect square, the perfect circle. Right? Aristotle systemized it with logic, syllogisms, categorizing knowledge and distinguishing theoretical reason, what is, from practical reason, what to do, phronesis or phronesis. I'm not good at the old Greek, as they say. Medieval period. Reason was often subordinated to faith, faith-seeking understanding. And then Anselm Aquinas, yet thinkers like Averroes, Ibn Rushd argued for the primacy of reason and the compatibility of philosophy with religion. So this is the whole thing where it's like, where I say like God is reason. People say, no, Teriak, just have faith in God. And I'm like, nah, bro. Nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're orientating ourselves towards sound reasoning. We're justifying all the moral principles. We're showing how it is logical and we're showing how it is practical. Otherwise, it's lazy thinking to say, oh yeah, God works mysterious ways. You know? So this is why it's like an important distinguishing thing here. Then we had the Enlightenment, the 17th, 18th centuries. Reason became revolutionary. Descartes' cogito ergo sum made methodical doubt the foundation of knowledge. Locke, an empiricist, grounded reason in sensory experience. Kant's critique of pure reason asked what reason can and cannot know, distinguishing phenomenon, what we experience, from noumena, things in themselves. The motto, saper aud, dare to know. And again, this is where, like I said, you have that balance between the logic justifying the practical or the empirical, and then the empirical proving the logic. 19th and 20th centuries, challenges mounted. Nietzsche saw reason as a tool of power and self-deception. Freud highlighted unconscious drives. Logic, positivists tried to reduce everything to verifiable propositions. And that's the other side to it, where it's like people will say, oh, there is only logic, and the empirical and the practical, that's useless. You know what I mean? You have to have a balance, like the yin and the yang, baby. You know what I mean? Gödel's incompleteness theorem showed formal systems have limits. Postmodernism, oh my god, these cunts. Derrida and Foucault questioned grand narratives and universal reason as potentially oppressive or Eurocentric. Can you believe this shit? Can you believe this shit? Do you not see how, like I said, like there's justification to get rid of these retards, man. These postmodernist retards. Despite critiques, reason remains the foundation of science, liberal democracy, human rights, and technological progress, baby. What we love. Types of reasoning. So deductive, right? This is the whole aspect of the deductionist, like Sherlock Holmes kind of type character and all this kind of thing. Certainty if premises are true. So all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, ergo Socrates is moral. This necessarily follows. It is certainly true that if all men are mortal, and if Socrates is a man, then Socrates necessarily is mortal. There's no other possible answer. Okay? Then you have inductive, which is basically like probability. Okay? Think about like your maths class, you learned about probability and all this kind of shit, you know what I mean? For sure, also a very nice change from flat place here. Oh, sorry. Also a very nice change from the completely flat place here, even though I love it here. What we're we talking about? Oh, we're talking about New England. What can I say, man? What can I say? But probability from patterns, and again, this is why pattern recognition is such a key thing. This is why if you look at like IQ tests, why like you, and this is why I think like a lot of people don't even understand like when you get like shown those images and all this kind of shit, they're just like guessing essentially. But it's literally like, can you spot the pattern in the thing and then tell us what the next step should be? Like predicting movement as well is another way of looking at it. The sun has risen every day, ergo it'll probably rise tomorrow. Can it be certain that the sun rise tomorrow? I think Andrew Wilson has a beautiful way of kind of saying, it's like, listen, like when you get up in the morning and you put your foot down off the bed, right? You're not certain that the floor is going to be there, but it's been there every single time you've gotten out of bed before. So more probable than not that your floor is not, there's not going to be a hole in the ground. You know what I mean? And you fall straight through to the bottom floor and all that stuff. Then you have abductive reasoning, which is the best explanation. Inference to the best explanation, right? Which is, like I was kind of like pointing out with the conversation with Crazy. Like, I don't have any certain proof and all this kind of shit, but it's the best explanation. So, for example, you know, premise one would be, when it rains, the ground is wet. Premise 2, the ground is wet. Conclusion, the best explanation is it rained. Right? I'm not certain that it rained, but it's the best explanation, you know? Analogical reasoning by comparison. And this is where like we get into like Dr. House, when Dr. House says the line, truth comes from lies. The whole like everybody lies, and truth, you can get the truth from the lies. Right? Because if you take the premise that everybody lies, and then you juxtapose two people telling the stories. All right? You have two people and everybody lies. How do you know which one is the liar? Compare the stories, and like I said, you have the empirical evidence of the testing, like that they do, and all this kind of shit. And then you compare and contrast, and you say, definitely lying. Told me they didn't take drugs, and they failed the drug test. You know, practical and instrumental, means ends reasoning, how to achieve goals. Right. So this is kind of like you kind of basically work backwards from the conclusion. You know what I mean? So I have a conclusion that I want to reach. What are the premises that I must have in order to reach that conclusion? Then you have moral and normative, which is what ought we do? Kant's categorical imperative, utilitarianism, virtue ethics. Modern fields add Bayesian reasoning, updating probabilities with evidence, causal reasoning, counterfactual thinking, and statistical probabilistic reasoning. Then we have cognitive science and psychology. Humans are not purely rational. Daniel Kahneman's thinking fast and slow distinguishes system 1, which is fast, intuitive, emotional, prone to biases. Then you have slow, deliberate, effortful reasoning. Common biases include confirmation bias. So again, this is where you're only really noticing anything that already confirms the belief in your head, and any evidence that is contrary, you just ignore that and you just kind of put that to the side and you say, oh, that must be a mistake. And you're not actually proving that it is a mistake. You're just kind of saying, oh, it must be wrong because this is true and all this kind of shit. Right? Availability heuristic, anchoring, sunk cost fallacy, and motivated reasoning. Yet training in logic, statistics, and scientific methods measurably improves reasoning. Education, debate, and institutions, peer review, adversarial legal systems act as reason amplifiers. Now again, in theory, logically, this would be the case, but as we've seen from a lot of this peer review and what's the other one, like meta-analysis studies and all this kind of shit, these systems can be corrupted and all this kind of shit as well, right? And then we have evolutionary psychology suggests reason evolved not just for truth seeking, but for social coordination, argumentation, and persuasion. Argumentative theory of reasoning by Mercer and Serber. So again, this whole thing, we can just basically scrap that shit. Then we have the limits of reason. Hume's guillotine. You cannot derive aught purely from an is without bridging assumptions. Again, this is the whole thing where if you just go based on the logic alone, this is why we have to have the empirical. This is why we have to have the practical. This is why we have like scientific testing, and we get data from the testing, then we cross compare and all this kind of stuff. Right? The empirical balances the logic, which balances the empirical. You know? Gödel and Turing, formal systems powerful enough for arithmetic are incomplete or undecidable. So again, like Alan Turing, the dude that cracked Enigma, apparently, or so we're told. This whole aspect is like, how do you determine what is a language? You know what I mean? Like when you're dealing with encrypted messages, for example. You know, like the Zodiac killer, for example, how they were able to crack the Zodiac messages and all this kind of shit. Like, how are you actually able to determine whether or not something's actually a language? And again, like the mathematics gets very complex, and it's kind of like multiple. What would be the best way to describe it? Where, like, mathematically speaking, you can basically try every single possible combination. It's like trying to crack a passcode, right? And this is why they only allow you a certain amount of attempts to type in your password, because if you had infinite amount of attempts and they didn't have it a lockout and all this kind of stuff, technically with enough time, the compute, you could just write a program to just tries every single possible password combination, every single character, letter, special character, and all this kind of shit. And eventually they'll be able to crack any password. You know what I mean? So there's food for thought there for you as well. Complexity. Many real-world problems, climate systems, economics, human behavior are too complex for full analytical solutions. We rely on heuristics, models, and experimentation. So, again, like this would be... A lot of this is actually... it is actually done, and like a typical thing that you don't actually think about. But think of like a supermarket. You ever notice that like supermarkets all follow the same pattern? You know what I mean? Like think about when you're walking up to the cashier or the checking thing. All right? That's where all the sweets are. Why? That because you're going to be waiting there, you're going to be standing there, and the bright colors and all this kind of stuff, and sweets for the kiddies, and all this kind of stuff. They're going to reach out and they're going to throw it in, all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Another thing is like, oh, well, I do all my shopping online. Well, if you notice when you're checking out, you're always going to be shown a certain products and items. Are you sure you don't want to add this into your basket just before you go and all this kind of shit? That's where a lot of this like human behavior and complexity stuff and all that kind of stuff comes in. Sneaky bastards. But you got to give them credit. You got to give them credit. Then we have emotions and embodiment. Pure reason detached from emotion often leads to poor decisions. Right? This is where it's like why empathy is such an important thing. If you were to remove empathy, bro, you're kind of fucked. You know what I mean? And the $3 16-ounce soda when it's when in the same store you can get 2 liter for less. Yeah, it's handier. You know what I mean? Because like they know that you won't like, for example, right? Like I guarantee you that like it would be something like $3.50 for the 2 liter. and then like the 16 ounce like $3. And like there'd be people saying, "Oh yeah, I'll just buy the $3.50 for the 2 liter because it's cheaper per liter." You know what I mean? But you're not going to drink the 2 liters. But they got that extra 50 cents out of you. You know what I mean? They're bastards, man. They're bastards. All that like a supermarket design is mathematical. Like everything that like we don't even give thought to is mathematical. It is all order. It is all reason. Reason works best when integrated with other faculties. And this is why I keep saying in terms of the balance between the practical and the reasonable. You know what I mean? The practical and the logical. Because logically, you can jump to the moon. But practically, you can't. You know what I mean? Marketing is all in AI now. Oh, man. And wait till you see fucking, like, how oh, man. It's truly a sight to behold. Reason is a tool, not an oracle. It excels at consistency, prediction, and error correction, but needs good inputs and goals. You know? Yep, same reason they rearrange everything once XX months to get you to see different products. Oh yeah, and like the whole kind of, even depending, like if you ever notice, let's say you go down to let's say bread, right? The most expensive brands will be at eye level, right? Or the most popular brands and all that kind of stuff. They'll all be at like the highest priced item will always be the easiest to just reach out and grab. You know what I mean? Because we're like, fuck it, anyone will do and all this kind of shit. You know? And when you notice, like, especially like the candies and all this kind of shit, they're lower because the kids are going to reach out with that more and all this kind of stuff. You know? Reason in the modern world. Science, the institutionalized application of reason and empiricism, hypothesis, experiment, falsification, replication. And like this is why, again, and props to Andrew and Jim Bob and Jay and all this kind of shit. So like psychology and soft sciences, all this kind of stuff, they can't be replicated. So are they even scientific? You know? We have the law as well. Adversarial processes, burden of proof, rules of evidence, you know? And again, like I said, we have this problem of activist judges that don't follow any of this shit. You know? It's all pure emotion with them. And we have AI. Again, like, it's marketing. Like Darth was saying, marketing, you know? Current systems like me use statistical pattern matching, chain of thought prompting, search, and verification to stimulate reasoning. We can outperform humans on many narrow tasks, but lack true understanding, consciousness, or intrinsic goals. Advances in reasoning models, so we have the O1 style, and then test time compute, show promise for more reliable step-by-step thinking. Oh my. Then we have society, open discourse, free speech, you know? But sometimes, like, this is the thing why free speech is important. You know? It's so important. You know? Because if someone's wrong or someone's, like, crazy or delusional, like, think about, like, when you walk down, like, the city center and you have, like, you know, that crazy fucker that, like, I don't know. He says he's Christian, but like think of like you're Mormon or whatever, and they're just like they're preaching about the end times and we're you know what I mean? The Antichrist is coming next week and all this kind of shit. Nobody cares. Nobody's trying to shut him down. Like the lefties aren't showing up to him and saying, we need to shut him down, all this kind of shit. But then they see someone like Andrew Wilson. They want to shut down Andrew Wilson. The crazy, what was it? Revelations. The dude preaching about Revelations 24/7 on the street and all this kind of shit. They don't give a fuck about him because He's just reading off like Revelation quotes and promising that the Antichrist is coming next week and all this kind of shit. Like, there's no reason behind that. Whereas Andrew Wilson, he's got reason. And this is the other thing when these fuckers say it's oh, there is no reason, there is only power and all this bollocks, right? Then why are you trying to shut down reasonable people? Why do you get angry when they make reasonable counter arguments to you? You know what I mean? Because they know reason exists and reason is true. But yeah, open discourse, free speech, and markets of ideas allow collective reasoning to flourish. Censorship, echo chambers, and propaganda degrade it. And again, this all came up in the crazy interview. Let's say it's kind of crazy that his name is Crazy, and then we get called a crazy interview. But like I said, it actually works because I was like, oh no, I was just crazy. That interview, I was just crazy. I'm just a crazy man. You know, don't listen to me. I'm just a wee little crazy leprechaun. Ignore what I'm saying. Why should we cultivate reason? Why should we value reason? Okay? It is the most reliable path to truth we have, even if imperfect. And again, like this whole thing of like, it's imperfect, but it's perfect when it's balanced with empirical, when it's balanced with the practical, when it's balanced with the data, when the logic, and when you have the logic and you have the data justifying it, you know? It enables cooperation at scale. And this is why I was pointing to like God is reason, and like this is what like justifies God, is that like even for the fact for us to be able to have like universal meanings and be able to communicate, there has to be some sort of like higher like divine intellect or divine what's the word, like universal mind at play here that's like stores all this shit, because otherwise you have a meaning and I have a meaning and these meanings are different meanings, or they're kind of they're different meanings but they're the same meanings. A equals not A is all of a sudden coherent and all this kind of shit. Otherwise it would be impossible. Right? Technological mastery and moral refinement. And this is the whole thing of like, where especially against the moral relativists, where it's like, oh, like you have to explain perfect morality to me right here, right now. List off everything that's perfectly moral. This is where like I was, even with like Rob, I was trying to point out that like morality is objective because it is logical and it is practical. Like that through you know, reason and practicality, like you'll eventually be able to work out what is moral and what is not moral. You know what I mean? As human and AIs face increasingly complex challenges, AI alignment, climate, biotechnology, and space expansion, better collective reasoning is not optional. It is a necessity. You know? In essence, reason is the disciplined pursuit of coherence between beliefs, evidence, and reality. It doesn't guarantee wisdom, but without it, wisdom is impossible. Conversation is impossible. If you'd like to go deeper in any aspects, specific philosophers, logical fallacies, or how to improve personal reasoning, AI responding techniques, or something else, just say the word. So what do we think, chat? Do we want to go into the more philosophical end to it? Do we want to go through our logical fallacies? Do we want to do the improved personal reasoning? Do we want to go through valid reasoning versus sound reasoning? Let me know. Let me know, chat. We got plenty of time. Start saying AI reasoning. Pain Zombies are saying good point, good points. Good shit, Teriak. Pseudo saying I'm up for any of it. Do we have any questions on any stuff that we went by as well? Let me know, chat. So I can type that in as well. This is, like I said, this is like an interactive session. Like, this is more so for you guys than it is for me. I'm just basically showing you my methods. But my method, well, one of them at least, in terms of the AI aspect, because, oh fuck, wait till we get to the Trump debate. Oh my god, man. There's something spicy coming soon that I can't talk about yet. And the reason why I can't talk about it is because there's nothing got to do with me technically, but wait and see, boys. Wait and see. It's gonna be beautiful. Gonna be beautiful. Because otherwise I'm just gonna go into AI reasoning. Lads, if there's nothing else. This guy. This motherfucker. This motherfucker.
You're a cunt.
This guy. Pseudo, you bastard. You bastard, Pseudo. We love you, though. We love you. You gotta meme, because if you don't meme, if you're not having fun, you know what I'm saying? Can you out-reason the robot, man? Hey, it ain't a robot. It's a clanker. Okay, Darth? It's a fucking clanker. Call it what it is. So we're going to AI reasoning. So we just copy-paste that. Keep it simple, boys. Keep it simple. See how much thinking it's doing? It's like, how much do we want to actually tell these fuckers? Alright. So the AI reasoning techniques are methods that enable large language models and other AI systems to solve complex problems more effectively by simulating deliberate, step-by-step thinking rather than relying on pattern matching alone. This moves AI closer to human-like System 2 thinking, slow and analytical, from System 1, which is fast and intuitive, okay? So we have chain of thought prompting. Foundational technique, instead of asking for a direct answer, you prompt the model to generate intermediate reasoning steps. So zero-shot, chain of thought. Simply add, let's think step by step to the prompt. Then we have few-shot chain of thought, which is provide examples of step-by-step reasoning in the prompt and why it works. Breaking the problems into smaller steps improves performance dramatically on arithmetic, common sense, and symbolic reasoning tasks. So again, Darth, if you have any things you want to add into here, let me know as well. Extensions include auto COT, automatically generating diverse reasoning chains, and long COT, extended reflective reasoning chains with self-correction. Then you have tree of thoughts, TOT, an extension of COT that explores multiple reasoning paths in a tree structure. So the model generates several possibilities, thoughts, intermediate steps at each stage. It evaluates progress, backtracks from dead ends, and searches, e.g. via BFS, DFS, or Monte Carlo. Hey, that's that. You have like these bland names, BFS, DFS, or Monte Carlo. Hey, vi favore. For a promising pass. Ideal for planning, creative problem solving, and tasks with high branching factors, for example, puzzles and strategy. Variants include forest of thoughts, multiple trees for collective decision making, and graph of thoughts. Then we have react, reason plus action, combines reasoning with interaction with external tools or environments. The model alternates between thought, which is reasoning, and action, calling tools like search, code execution, or APIs, and observation, incorporating results. This creates agentic behavior. The AI can gather information, verify facts, or execute code dynamically. Means like at the same time. Powerful for knowledge intensive or real world tasks. Related reflection adds reflection and memory of past failures for iterative improvement. And that's the whole thing of like basically just doing the whole, what's it called? It's basically like similar to kind of like scientific method, where it's like you're constantly just kind of iterating, and even with like technology as well, like you have your kind of 0.1, model 0.1, and then you get to like 0.2 and all that kind of shit, and then make a big step, then it's like model 1.2 or 1.1, and then another big step, 2.1, etc., etc., etc. You know, like if you ever kind of like downloaded a new patch or a new update for a game, you'll see a little like number on the bottom of the screen, and it'll be like 16.0 0.1 or some shit like that. Do you know what I mean? So self-consistency and ensemble methods generate multiple reasoning chains, often with temperature sampling. Aggregate them so majority vote for the final answer. So this is why you can't always trust AI. Okay, because it's like there's a lot of shit getting thrown into. Reduces hallucinations, and again, like I said, basically, like a lot of this shit leads to hallucinations. You know what I mean? And this is why, like, you'll hear about people, not necessarily people, but you'll hear about kind of like certain things that happen where like people are trying to, like they'll use kind of like programs or even like other AIs to like spam a bunch of like websites that might seem legitimate to the AI and all this kind of shit, with all this like propaganda, fake news, and all this kind of shit, just so it could try to, you know, manipulate this whole thing of like how they aggregate it and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? That's why you get the hallucinations and all this kind of shit. Improves reliability on uncertain problems. Okay, this whole like certainty and all this kind of stuff that I went before. Then you have test time compute / interference time scaling. One of the biggest advances exemplified by OpenAI's 0103 series, DeepSeek R1, Qwen, QWQ, etc. Instead of, or in addition to, scaling model size during training, allocate more computation during inference, so thinking time. Generate longer internal reasoning traces, hidden or visible. Use search, multiple rollouts, self-refinement, backtracking, and verification. Models learn via reinforcement learning to recognize mistakes, try alternative approaches. So again, like if you mistype the word and all this kind of shit, it'll make sure it tries to do that. You know what I mean? Break down steps and allocate effort dynamically. Then you have the native long chain of thought in reasoning models internalizes this process, often with reasoning tokens, not always shown to the user. Performance improves with more compute on hard problems, similar to how humans deliberate longer on difficult questions. Adaptive variance let models decide how much effort to spend based on problem difficulty. And then you have reinforcement learning or reasoning or L. Process, supervision, reward, correct reasoning steps, not just final answers. So again, like this is the whole thing where a lot of people, and you basically kind of point out, like oftentimes, like I'd point out, like the Christians have the right answer, but how they get there sometimes is flawed. So the example that I used earlier on, where it's like, you know, killing is wrong. Why? Because God said so. It's like, you got the right answer. Killing, especially murder is wrong. Yes, you got the right answer, but your reasoning is dog shit. Just because God said so, or because God works in mysterious ways, that's not valid reasoning. You know what I mean? Models learn productive strategies, decomposition, error correction, exploration. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, like, if you notice, like a lot of your... Wait, did we get a raid? Oh, shit. Wait, did we get a raid? Let me know in chat if we got a raid. I was too busy reading. I'm not going to lie. The viewers are spiked up there for some reason. No, we didn't get a raid. Okay, we just randomly spiked up. Hey, it is what it is. Shout out to the boys. Let me catch up in chat. You growing trees, Sarah? Yeah, boy. And fungi or smoking them. Mama. I'm the one smoking them. Mama. Gotta be 420 somewhere. Jack, it was so weird. I've never seen anywhere so damn flat. I'm also used to trees everywhere you look. But to be fair, I've only seen a few states. Never been to America. I've been in a fair few states, boy. You know. Just remembered something crazy. Oh shit. Hit me with it, pseudo. Hit me with it. Hey, same man. Hey, my man. We should never rely on AI. All it does is regurgitate data. It doesn't care if it's accurate. Again, like right answer in terms of like you should never rely on AI. You should never really rely on anything anyone's telling you. You should always, double check, cross reference. Like I said, like do that whole kind of strategy where you go to someone who's like pro or heavily pro in favor and all this kind of stuff. Hear out their case, ask for the evidence that they have and all this kind of stuff. Then you go to someone who completely is anti or completely against. Hear out their case, get the evidence. Then you have, like I said, the two conflicting stories, and that's where we get down the whole aspect of, okay, where are the contradictions? You know what I mean? And then that's how you build the big picture. You know what I mean? Have you seen AI and networking with mycelium? No, tell me more. Close friend and myself both have 1 watt lasers, play around, burn stuff, shine them up at night. He was using his last night. 2 large drones went towards it, was filming it. Then his phone got fried. Hey, you gotta be careful with that shit, man. You gotta be careful with that shit. And that was the raid question. And we have mycelium saved the bees from dwarfed wing viruses. Also taking out those invasive lantern flies. Hey, what can I say, man? Nah, you're just cool. Shucks, man. Shucks. Making me blush. Maybe from Rob's stream, he raided into Myron's Dead Live. Oh, yeah. I think Rob was live. So maybe a couple people came in. Welcome in, people from Rob's. Welcome in. Welcome in. Pull up a chair, I'm here just listening. Hey, my man. My motherfucking man. Oh, shit. I forgot to put the leprechaun back on stream. God damn it. Hey, this is what it is. I live in America. I'm just an uncultured hillbilly. Hey, what can I say, man? What can I say? We're like, hillbillies have culture, though. You know what I mean? Like, if I was trying to find someone with no culture, like that would be kind of like a robot. You know what I mean? Like, I'd say, like, these communists have no culture. These like mindless sheep that just regurgitate fucking like lines that they were taught in by like fucking schools and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Dart, I grew the record. Longest single flush of PI strain, a 66 quart, 13.4 ounces. God damn. Everyone's smoking the brains out. What the fuck's going on? Have any of you been raided in? I could have missed it while doing the laundry. Shout out to Shantae. No, I think if it was Rob's, if it was a raid from Rob, you'd be looking at like 100, 200 people or something like that. Rob's got a big audience. Not gonna lie. What can I say? Yes, I have hillbilly culture, but I ain't been out of it traveling. You gotta keep that hillbilly culture, boy. No peas, fungus. What can I say, man? The shrooms. Salutes to you, sir. But used heavily on 01 style models for data efficient improvement. Okay, other advanced techniques. Self-refinement / critique. The model generates an answer, then critiques and improves it iteratively. So again, like the whole thing of like basically trying to push forward and all this kind of stuff. Multimodal reasoning. Integrate vision, code, or other modalities into reasoning chain. Agentic and multi-agent systems. Multiple specialized agents. Planner, critic, executor, collaborative. Verifiable words. And tool augmented reasoning language, training models to use tools effectively and self-correct. Hey, my man. Current landscape as of 2026, reasoning models from OpenAI, O-Series, DeepSeek, R1, Anthropic, Google, Gemini thinking models, and other dominate complex benchmarks in math, coding, science, and agent tasks. Open source efforts have caught up rapidly. Shift us from pure pre-training scale to post-training reasoning language plus test time compute. And that's the other thing as well, where you want to balance the whole. And like Easy has a really good question off it. It's like, do you want perfection or do you want speed? And that's where the balance is. You know what I mean? Rob rated Myron, but Myron shut down his live as Rob was rated, so we all went to the wind. What can I say, man? That's why I always like try to double check, and sometimes like I'll even like open up the live and say, listen, I'm fucking raiding in, don't close down, you know, and all this kind of shit, you know what I mean? We got the mushrooms in chat. Oh my god. It's like Alice in Wonderland. You know, Shantae in Wonderland with all the mushrooms emojis. Anyways, limitations still struggles with truly novel problems, deep causal understandings, or consistent long horizon planning without external scaffolding. Compute costs rise with deeper reasoning. That's another thing with the AI, because it's like you can guarantee whatever AI we have, government and military AI, god damn, you know, can still hallucinate or follow flawed reasoning paths convincingly. And that's what I was saying, where it's like you can kind of jam the system, where it's like, you know, you put a bunch of fake news out there, especially ones that like where like if a human was to see the website, they'd be like, this is clearly fucking fake. You know what I mean? But you put enough of it out there and you can kind of like trick the system. Evaluation is tricky. Benchmarks saturate quickly. These techniques make AI far more capable today than raw next token predictions suggested was possible. They are key to building reliable agents, scientific discovery tools, and systems that can tackle open-ended real-world challenges. If you'd like examples, prompts for any technique, comparisons between specific models, or deep dive into one. This is kind of getting more into like AI and all this kind of shit. So, teach me more about reasoning. For example, what is valid and sound reasoning? Okay, so teach me more about just reasoning, not AI. For example, what is valid and sound reasoning? So again, valid and sound reasoning in classical logic. These are foundational concepts in deductive reasoning, the kind where you move from general premises to a specific conclusion with certainty, if everything is set up correctly. So, first of all, what is an argument? An argument is not a fight. An argument is not a fight. Oh shit! It's not a screaming match, boys. In logic, it's a set of statements. So we have premises, which is the supporting reasons or evidence, and then you have a conclusion, the claim being supported, right? So this is the legendary example. All humans are mortal. Socrates is a human. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. So again, premise 1, humans are mortal. All humans will die. Premise 2, Socrates is a human. Therefore, Socrates will die. Socrates is mortal, right? Then you have valid reasoning, right? An argument is valid if its logical structure guarantees that if the premises are true, then the conclusion must be true. Now, the key word is if there. If signifies a conditional, right? And this is where, and Andrew does this beautifully, where like he can grant the argument, and even if he grants the argument, he can show that the conclusion still does not necessarily follow. So this is where you can kind of like get bogged down when it's particularly with like lefties and all this kind of shit, where like they'll say, oh, blah blah blah, like premise 1, blah blah blah, premise 2, and then conclusion is, you know, trans kids exist, some shit like that. And he's like, well, even if I grant premise 1 and premise 2, the conclusion doesn't necessarily follow. There's other things that it could be. It could be mental illness. And like the last Wheel of Madness, you know what I mean? This came up where they were saying, oh, like the reason why, the conclusion why more black people are in prison or black people commit more crime than white people is because there's more, like, therefore, or like the reason is, or in conclusion is, they're just more policed. These areas are just more policed. That's why there are more people locked up. Now, the faulty premise there is that, like, white people and black people commit the same amount of crime. You know what I mean? But notice, like I threw at them, well, there's at least two other possible conclusions we could draw here. That black people actually commit more crime than white people, or white people are just are better at getting away with crime. They're just better at committing crime. Those are two other possible conclusions here. Because there's no evidence for you to suggest, or they at least didn't present the evidence, that these areas are more policed than quote-unquote white areas. So I can guarantee you, poor areas in general are policed more than rich areas. You know what I mean? Because typically when a rich person's robbing you, it's through the banks and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Called taxation. That's how the rich people rob from you. They don't need to mug you. You know what I mean? Jante, an occasional thing for me. Summer months, nights by the bonfire, a state of mind reset. God damn, that sounds beautiful, man. That is beautiful. Shout out to, and I think we need more of that, man. Do you know what I mean? Just like sitting by the campfire and all this kind of shit, you know? Collecting your thoughts, all this kind of stuff. And welcome in, Craig. Welcome in. Pull up a chair, get comfy. I picked them in the spring every year. I used to eat a shit ton of them. God damn. Half and went this year. The weather's been all over the place, but I'm planning on it. And then Shante just screams into the wilderness. You know? What kind? The Navro says, an AI has no grounding. It just goes off data, is my point. If you can prompt an AI to agree with you, it will. Just FF what you're using it as it is using general consensus. It doesn't, Navro. Just off what you cannot get Grok to admit that 2 + 2 = 5. Believe me, we've tried. We have tried. You cannot get Grok to admit that 2 + 2 = 5. It is what it is. Jack says, I think we have flat land in all of the lands. Hey, Jack's bragging about his flat land. You know what I mean? I think he's going to try to... Don't trust Jack. He's a Benedict Arnold. All right, he's going to start convincing you now. We have flat land here, and maybe this is what they mean by flat Earth. Got my eye on you, Jack. Got my eye on you, Jack. Don't be talking about no flat Earth, okay? Right. I used to grow regular edible ones outdoors. I had some good patches of morals though too. Not too familiar with the strains of mushrooms myself, but I have participated with a bit of psilocybin. You know. I don't know what they're called. They leave a blue residue on them. God damn. God damn. Y'all a bunch of druggies in chat. Avro, welcome in. Crystal Strange. Jante, where are cow pastures? By riverbeds, by the creeks. You know? Psilocybin avoids. Y'all are going next level with the mushroom talk. Welcome in, Craig. I used to eat an ounce at a time before it dries. Wait, what? What the fuck? Isn't like 5 grams supposed to be a heroic dose? And you're doing what, like 6 times that? What the fuck? Unbelievable. Please tell me you're not talking about the magic mushrooms. That you're eating an ounce of magic mushrooms in one go. Because you'd be holding on to the ground. Like you'd be lying on the ground, like holding on to the grass for dear life. You know what I mean? Thinking you're going to fall. You know? Mushrooms are either tasty, hearing colors, or death. I mean, hi. An ounce fresh, that's about 2 grams. Oh, okay. Okay. That's a decent dose. I've done 7 grams of Penis Envy Jedi Mindfuck. What are these names? Their nickname Blue Meanies. Mine wasn't about consuming them. What the fuck is going on? Chat, what is going on here? Like, do I need to call the popo? What's going on? What is going on? What the fuck is going on?
What the fuck is going on right now?
No, an ounce fresh is about 2 grams dried. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I was young and they were way different, and yes, magic mushrooms. Yeah, no, Pseudo explained to me. I'm still I just basically just ate the shit that I was handed. You know what I mean? And just trusted the dude that I wasn't gonna die from it. You know what I mean? But I always made sure that they ate it first. You know what I mean? And then watched them for about 5-10 minutes to see, ain't looking good. Or yeah, it looks good. You know? Drugs have the wildest names. True that. True that. I think there's a correlation, you know, with the people that come up with the names and maybe they're taking too much kind of thing, you know. I used to tell, what the fuck, Shantae? You need to relax that shit. That's dangerous. You know what I mean? Indeed, Grumple. Indeed. I never liked them dry. It tasted funny. I don't like them with food or made into tea either. Yeah, nah, man. I used to just fucking just give me the this thing straight. I didn't want to take anything with them because, like, you know what I mean. It like there's the one aspect where like it would maybe potentially like dilute it down, and then the other aspect is like if I do start to feel nauseous or get to like the spins and all this kind of shit, I don't want to have like a stomach full of shit that I'm vomiting up, you know. Plus is earned. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get them to take it first. And like I said, you wait 5-10 minutes, see how things are going, and then you go based on that, you know what I mean? The good old trust technique, you know? Or the guinea pig technique, as they say. Maybe 3.5 grams dried, basically losing 9% of the weight dried, mostly water. Fair point. Fair point. I had a group of guys catcalling me and I wasn't in the mood to deal with it, so I handed them all the mushrooms I had and walked away. That's a good trick, Shantae, you know? When opioid and benzo, yeah, that's no good. I quit shit years ago. Good to hear. Good to hear. One sec, let me play the clip.
My fucking man! No, I didn't.
Mushrooms go on pizza. Oh my god. Boo this man.
Boo this man!
Fucking motherfuckers putting pineapple and fucking mushrooms on their pizza. Unbelievable. The guys were so pumped about it. Hey, little did they know. Shantae was just like, little do these motherfuckers know. They're not even going to be able to know their own fucking names in about 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like Shantae's like sitting there, I am the danger. I ate them with protein bars. Jack, what? Oh my god. What is going on here? Chat is revolting. We're here supposed to be talking about reasoning, and y'all are like, nah, bro, I just want the mushrooms. No wonder the world's fucked. Oh my god. I'm sitting here watching this shit descend into chaos.
I'm scared to death. I'm frightened, and I don't know what to do. I'm confused, and I want to go home.
I want to go home. You know? The thing is, though, once you're on that trip, you can't go home. You're down the wishing well, as they say. I always ate with a crunchy chocolate bar, but only like 2 grams. This is like unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. Back in my day, you used to just smoke or eat the mushrooms and you didn't have like no fucking like make a whole snack of it. You know, like you guys like apparently when you guys take drugs, you like to have a whole fucking buffet. Like What the fuck's going on here? You know what I mean? We got Lethal Waterkai. Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. We're supposed to be talking about reasoning, but everyone in chat apparently is just talking about getting blitzed out with their fucking brains. You know what I mean? We got Craig saying, boo! No mushrooms on pizza. Pepperoni. Stick to the meat. You know what I mean? The meat's the good stuff. They're harder to eat larger amounts when they aren't dried out. Oh, true that. True that. Pates, the worst. Plus, I've grown them with dried mushroom seeds. Dense wood chips. About 90 minutes to dose all your shrooms from the first bunch. After 90 minutes, eating more won't work. God damn. 8 of you, enough for an 8th. Fix your people, Terry. I'm trying. I'm fucking trying. I'm here trying to teach them reasoning, and these cunts are there getting blitzed out of their minds. It's unbelievable. I used to do some crazy shit. You honestly wouldn't expect a lot of it. What can I say? At least, like I said, man, like this the thing as well. Like, you know, you can look back on like your previous mistakes and you know, like feel bad and oh, I was such a piece of shit and all this kind of stuff. Or you can look back and kind of say, well, look at how far I've come. Look at where it came from. You know what I mean? Started from the bottom, now we here. You know what I'm saying? So it's always perspective, you know? Outstanding. Potato. Shillelagh. In fact, 9% of the ground you walk on as minus. Oh, God damn. Exactly, Pseudo. It was basically useless to keep eating them after you got so many down. True that. After so long. Stands to reason. Exactly. Precisely. Smoking mushrooms does 0 psilocybin. Doesn't convert psilocybin by smoking. True that. Leave doesn't come to YouTube. Hey, it is what it is. I thought chat wins. Hey, chat wins. If you pay $25 on the Ko-Fi to PayPal or $50 on the Super Chat, we can talk about mushrooms. We can ask the AI about mushrooms. Other than that, we need to get back to the reasoning, folks. You know what I mean? But you motherfuckers are spamming the chat. Okay? I just got Grok to agree with me on 2 + 2 = 5. Bullshit. Tell me what to type. Avro. So I can show you real quick. 2 + 2 = 5. Right? No, 2 + 2 = 4. That's basic arithmetic and no amount of propaganda, re-education, or ministry can change it. So I see what you did there. 1984 reference. Nice try, big brother. So tell me what to type here, Avro. 5 levels of prompting. So tell me what to type, and we'll go through it, but won't be able to do it, Avro. It is what it is. But back to the reasoning. Okay, we're going back to reasoning. We're not going to be talking about mushrooms, okay? But anyways, a valid reasoning, validity. An argument is valid if its logical structure guarantees that if premises are true, not necessarily that the premises are true, then the conclusion must be true. That it necessarily follows, okay? Validity is about form, not about whether the premises are actually true in reality, okay? So validity has nothing got to do with whether or not the premises are true. It's just focusing on does the yeah, so then that's not 2 + 2 = 5. Like you basically just said, is 2.5 + 2.5 = 5? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, Avro. Unbelievable. These people. Like, it's like arguing with lefties. You know what I mean? And even when I copy paste that in, no, I still don't agree. Here's why your logic doesn't hold. You're committing an equivocation fallacy. You're using the symbol 2, but secretly assigning it a completely different value of 2.5. In standard arithmetic, 2 plus 2 equals 4. In your private redefinition, 2.5 equals 5, which is trivially true. But then you're slapping a label 2 onto 2.5 and claiming victory for the original statement. That's not a different path of logic. It's just changing the meaning of words mid-game and pretending the rules stayed the same. It's like saying, let's agree that cat now means dog. Therefore, cats bark. Sure, under your new private dictionary it works, but you've stopped communicating about your actual concept everyone else is using. The original claim 2 plus 2 equals 5 using normal integers remains false. If you want to work in a different number system or define your own operators, that's fine. Just be consistent and upfront about it. Redefining symbols doesn't make the original falsehood true. It just creates a new, unrelated true statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people. You know what I mean? And bear in mind, Avro. Alright, one sec. Let me scroll up to find it. They're like, AI has no grounding. And like, here you are, like, putting in all these prompts to redefine the grounding. It just uses general consensus. Like, these people. You know what I mean? It has no grounding. So then why do you have to put in 5 prompts to get it to just like ignore all sorts of groundings and do my own proprietary definition and all this kind of shit and say, if you don't say this, I'm gonna self-delete and all this kind of shit. Oh my god, man. But it's like when people try to use logic to disprove logic. It is what it is. But anyways, folks, back to reasoning, okay? Validity is about form, not about whether the premises are actually true in reality. Key point, validity is like a perfect machine. Garbage in, garbage out is still possible, but if the machine itself doesn't break the rules, kind of like Avro is trying to break the rules here. Valid argument example, syllogism. All A are B, C is A, therefore C is B. Right? Now, obviously A is not B, but this argument would still be valid. It's not sound, but it is valid, right? This form is valid no matter what you substitute A, B, and C for, okay? An invalid argument, right? All A are B, C is B, therefore C is A, is not valid. This is a fallacy because of the undistributed middle. Example, all dogs are mammals, cats are mammals, therefore cats are dogs. You know what I mean? This is where you basically skip the step, where you say, well, cat is a mammal and a dog is a mammal, ergo cats equals dogs. Undistributive middle. And then the test for validity. Can you imagine a world where the premises are true but the conclusion is false? If yes, invalid. If no, valid. And to go back to like the real world example that we seen on the Wheel of Madness last time, where they tried to make the conclusion that, you know, there's more people locked up, there's more black people locked up than white people locked up. Therefore, black people must be more policed than white people. That's an invalid argument because there's other conclusions. Black people could just simply commit more crime than white people, or white people could just be better at getting away with crime than black people. There's at least another 2 possible conclusions that's at play there. You know what I mean? So it is not a valid argument. And if it's not a valid argument, then it's impossible for it to be a sound argument. But speaking of which, sound reasoning, soundness, yeah? A sound argument is one that is valid, which means has the correct structure, where the conclusion necessarily follows, right? But also, all premises are actually true in reality. Only sound arguments give you a guaranteed true conclusion. This is why, once we go back to, one sec. Where is it? There we go. This is why, if you notice in my aristocracy, when Plato talks about, you know, the degradation of the soul and the degradation of society, you go from sound reasoning to because I said so. You know what I'm saying? Moral grounding, but not a sandwich. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But sound reasoning is bellissimo. Top tier logic right here, boys. You know what I mean? Moral groundhog. Chat, yous are unbelievable tonight. Unbelievable. What do I keep trying to tell you?
Saying that when we're on Molly and when we're horned up, might not be the
Horned
best
up?
time. You are horned up.
Oh, please.
You can have a fucking chub right now.
Put the chubs away, gentlemen. 2 + 2 = hot dog.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
My day is ruined. You just ruined my fucking day. Unbelievable, chat. You're trolling me and you're not even donating. What the fuck's up with this? This is unbelievable. Anyways, only sound arguments give you a guaranteed true conclusion. So when we get to deductionist tomorrow, we want sound reasoning. You know what I'm saying? It is the top tier. You know? Examples. The Socrates argument above is both valid and sound. Premises are true. Valid but unsound. Alright, and this is where we can get into a pretty funny back and forth. Premise 1, all birds can fly. Premise 2, penguins are birds. Conclusion, penguins can fly. It's a valid structure, but the false premise leading to unsound. Not all birds can fly. Penguins can't fly. It's valid because it follows there would only be one conclusion to both of these premises. You know? Oh yeah, it's not pin Teriak. Beef up. Oh, hey, Jack. You tell me that when we're fucking 2 hours into the stream? Beef up. Oh, hey. Oh, one sec. It's actually my bad. I should have been more astute. I don't even think I had it fucking linked in the other stream as well. So I'd like to take this time to thank the show's unofficial
From
sponsor.
doctors, nurses, and pharmacists to moms, dads, and caregivers, they have all put their trust in Tylenol.
Please be patient. My mom took Tylenol, okay? It is what it is. So make sure we have this pinned. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. But anyways, second, we put it on the Rumble as well, just in case. Just in case. You never know. You never know. Make sure we pause those things. And we're back in business, baby. We're back in business. So again, you have to be careful in terms of like things can be valid, but it does not necessarily denote that it sounds. Sound is the best one. That's what you want to aim for. Invalid, but with true premises and true conclusion, it is possible to have true statements that don't logically support each other. We have deductive versus inductive. Ah, fuck. I don't fuck that up. Okay, yeah. The deductive versus inductive reasoning. So the type is deductive, goal is certainty, and the strength is valid or invalid, and then conclusion follows necessarily if premises are true. And then you have all men are mortal, the whole Socrates, all men are mortal, Socrates is immortal, ergo the only possible conclusion is Socrates is mortal. Then we have inductive, which is probability, and it can be strong or weak. And again, probably every swan I've seen is white. Probably all swans are white. You know what I mean? Inductive strength, how well the premises can make the conclusion likely, but never 100% certain. Science and everyday prediction rely heavily on strong induction. Ain't it beautiful? Ain't it beautiful? Then we have how to evaluate reasoning, practical checklist, right? Identify the argument. What is the conclusion? What are the premises? Check validity. Does the conclusion follow necessarily? Meaning that is the only possible conclusion to the premises, right? Then we have check the truth of the premises. So we're basically checking the validity. Then we're checking the soundness of the argument. So are the premises actually true? Requires evidence, not just assertion. Meaning we go to the empirical, we go to the practical, we go to the data. You know what I mean? Then we check for hidden assumptions. Many arguments rely on unstated premises. You know, this is the whole, like, the example of, like, the loaded question. You know? Like, when did you stop beating your wife? The hidden premise is you're beating your wife, you know? And then you got to look for fallacies. Common errors that make arguments invalid or weak. Common thing for me that you would have seen would have been when I was doing, like, the Iranian argument. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Teriak, you're fucking, you're an Irishman. You shouldn't be talking about America and going to war with Iran. Just because I'm Irish does not mean my arguments are wrong, illogical, unsound. Me being Irish does not change the arguments whatsoever. And ladies and gentlemen, we got a you motherfuckers with your trollings and shit. We got Pseudo on the Ko-Fi for $7. My fucking man. Let me give you a little bit of Pepe for that one. Appreciate you kindly, sir. We got Re-Examination Show saying, let's get those subs to 2K, motherfuckers. And yes, if we get the 2K subs, we will be attempting keyword attempting, a 24-hour stream, okay? We're only 4 subscribers away. So if you want to see me sleep on stream, get the subs in, boys. And it's free. It's free to sub. It is what it is. It is what it is. My Orel ping is through the roof. Hey, it is what it is, Jack. What is Orel ping? Unbelievable. New tip from Hot Dog Sandwich. I know, they're trolling me, Shante. They're motherfucking trolling me. You know, but appreciate you kindly suit over to $7. No, you being Irish only means your kryptonite is potatoes. Hey, fake news. Fake news. I'm a carnivore, baby. I don't want those carbs. Give me fat and protein. That's all I need, baby. Bit of coffee as well. I hate that it's not pronounced coffee. But should it be? What? What? Oh, he's talking about the Ko-Fi. I get you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Welcome in, Re-Exam. Re-Exam actually had a good stream talking about the Satan worshipping Christians or something like that as well. I'm going to be checking that out after stream. Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. Pull up a chair, you know. Maybe pull up, grab a cup of coffee, you know what I'm saying? Chill after your stream, you know what I'm saying? He's Irish, he gets a pass for bad pronunciation. My pronunciation and enunciation is perfect, sir. It is perfect. God day, Teriak said he will dye his hair rainbow if we get to 2K. Fake news, Shante. Drup you, Shante. Trying to get me to color my beautiful hair. Unbelievable. If we get a $2,000 donation, then maybe I can consider it. But, you know, it has to be all one, though. You know, I don't want none of this shit. Real life. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole smoking thing, you know, it slows you down. Sometimes it's useful, not always, you know. Yeah, true that. Ko-Fi, but then again, is it Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi? That's a good point, Pseudo. That is a good point. That is profound, actually. That is profound.
My fucking man! No, I didn't.
Well, I did tell you my initials are CNN, but that's the complete truth. Shante News Network. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's a wee. You guys, unbelievable. I hotbox my room. Jack, what is with you and smoke in rooms? You're gonna end up burning the fucking house down. I'm telling you, man. Take care of yourself, Jack. Take care of yourself. Open some fucking windows, for fuck's sake. Well, let's go through some common logical fallacies. The ad hominem, attacking the person instead of the argument. So again, that was the whole Iranian argument when you heard it's like, you're not fucking American, Teriak. That's irrelevant to the debate, gentlemen. The straw man, misrepresenting someone's position to refute it easily. So this is where it's like they make an argument like, you know, like I said, my Iranian argument, and then you say, oh, Teriak just wants to go into ranks, he wants to kill a bunch of Muslims. That's not what my argument is. But then they attack that argument rather than dealing with the actual argument. The false dilemma. Only two options when more exists. So they say, well, either they're policing, like the example we gave earlier, where it's like to try and explain why there's like per capita higher crime rates for blacks than whites. Well, you know, it's either the cops are racist, meaning like they police the areas more and all this kind of shit, or what was the other example we gave? That yeah, like blacks commit more crime. You know what I mean? False dilemma. The other conclusion could be that like whites are just better at getting away with crime. You know what I mean? And that like white and black people actually commit things. Like there's nuance to all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Circular reasoning, assuming the conclusion in the premises. You know what I mean? Post hoc ergo propter hoc. God damn, that's a long one. That's a long one. After this, therefore, because of this. Confusing correlation with causation. Appeal to authority. Expert X says so. All experts agree. This whole kind of thing. If you notice, there's a lot of that shit that gets done on, you know, especially the pharmaceutical advertisements that you see in America. You know, all experts agree that this drug fucking gives you wings or some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? And this is how we improve our own reasoning, folks. Practice breaking down claims into premises and conclusions. Use symbolic logic for clarity, optional but powerful. Let P equal it is raining, Q equal the ground is wet, and then it's valid, P ergo Q, therefore, P and Q. Wait, what? Oh yeah, sorry. The proposition is Q and P, therefore Q modus ponens. Ask what would falsify this? Popper's insight. Seek counterexamples. Steel man opposing views before critiquing them. And that's a key thing as well. Like I said, I keep trying to point out with the whole empathy thing and all this kind of shit, you know what I mean? And then separate, is this valid from, are the premises true? So first of all, go through, it's like, is it even valid? And then you can start arguing whether or not the premises are actually true. And why this matters, valid and sound reasoning, or just sound reasoning, because sound reasoning implies that it's valid as well, is the gold standard for reaching reliable conclusions. Most real-world reasoning mixes deduction, induction, and abduction best explanation. So this is like, you know, certainty, probability, and then best explanation. Mastering the basics of validity and soundness makes you much harder to fool and better at building strong positions. You know what I mean? So like this whole thing of like, propaganda don't work on a sound reasoner or a deductionist. You know what I'm saying? And then, would you like me to give you practice arguments to validate? So let me know which one we're thinking about here, chat, right? Here are the options. Do we want some practice arguments to evaluate? Or do you want us to explain specific logical forms, so syllogisms, modus ponens, Collins? We're cracking out the Latin, boys. Cover inductive reasoning and probabilistic thinking in more depth. We want to discuss more fallacies with many examples, Or do you want to explore how philosophers like Aristotle, Kant, or Mill approached reason? Let me know in chat. Let me know in chat. Hey, my man.
Amazing.
Bellissimo. Bellissimo. You motherfuckers, like, can we focus in, boys? Can we do a bit of reasoning here? Holy shit. I always feel like I derail chat when it's serious. I usually leave, but he called me a feminist, so leaving is what he wants, and I refuse to. The chat is revolting. Chat is revolting. Oh my god.
I'm scared to death. I'm frightened and I don't know what to do. I'm confused and I want to go home.
I want to go home. But chat, I'm gonna put these in the poll to make it easier for yous, because yous are taking the piss. What to do next? So it's gonna paste these in, boys. Oh shit. Okay, so I'll have to shorthand these. So practice arguments. Logical forms. We'll go into inductive reasoning. And we'll go fallacies. Right. So while you work on the poll there, so everyone go over to YouTube to vote in the poll if you want to vote in the poll. And I'm going to go on a quick grift break because I need to take a piss. So I'll see you in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the music. And we're back, folks. And we're back. And we got our boy Jack. Member for 5 months. My motherfucking man says my windows won't open nowhere. Oh, you got the old was it the Windows Vista? The windows don't work. It is what it is. I feel you. I feel you. We got Jack gifting a membership, putting us up to 70, ladies and gentlemen. My motherfucking man. And we got Coco Mo with that shot. Jack always gets someone who's like familiar, you know what I'm saying? He never misses. He never misses with the single memberships, you know what I'm saying? So congratulations, Coco Mo. You got Jack to thank for that one. And we got Not Fault the Air saying, oh shit, I can do one of those too. Hey, my man, 6 months. 6 months, my man. So let me look at the poll as well. We end the poll, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going through the fallacies. We do not want to be fallacious. So let me discuss fallacies with many examples, please. So we'll see how it goes, buddy. We'll see how it goes. God damn. Fucking money, boy. We'll probably be doing fallacies for the rest of the show. We only got about an hour left as well, folks. So I'll try to make sure I cover all of it. Logical fallacies are errors in reasoning that undermine the logic of an argument. They can make a weak or false conclusion appear convincing. This is why I keep saying that, like, fallacies are technically, they are useful, like, as in terms of like this rhetorical tool or like this like optics kind of like game that gets played and all this kind of shit, you know? Recognizing them is one of the best ways to improve critical thinking and avoid being manipulated. Fallacies are generally divided into two main types: formal fallacies, error in the structure with the form, which means they're invalid of a deductive argument, or informal fallacies, errors in content, relevance, or assumptions, are common in everyday debates, politics, advertising, and social media. We pointed out the advertisement, and we pointed out debate and all this kind of stuff as well. Here's a clear, practical guide with many examples. Formal fallacies, which is for structural errors, which is affirming the consequence. So the form, if P then Q, Q is true, therefore P is true. Example, if it rains, the ground is wet. The ground is wet, therefore it rains. Could be sprinklers, dew, or burst pipe. You know? Denying the antecedent. So the form is, if P then Q, P is false, therefore Q is false. Example, if you study hard, you'll pass the exam. You didn't study hard, therefore you'll fail. You might still pass through luck or prior knowledge. Informal fallacies. So fallacies of relevance, irrelevant appeals. So ad hominem, attack the person, not the argument. So the person is, you can't trust her climate plan. She flew first class last month. Circumstantial, of course he supports tax cuts. He's rich. And tu quoque, you too. You criticizing me for smoking, but you drink alcohol. All right. And then the tu quoque, you know, if you checked out the debate, Rachel Wilson absolutely steamrolling Brian Shapiro. Brian Shapiro was tu quoque all over the place. Red herring, because again, like he even done the whole thing where it's like he shot himself in the foot, where he's like, how dare you tell women what to do? Now go make Andrew a sandwich. And it's like, okay, buddy. Red herring, distracting with irrelevant information. We shouldn't raise the minimum wage. Think about all the small businesses struggling with inflation. You know what I mean? We have the straw man, misrepresenting the opponent's position. So person A would say, we should have stricter gun control. Person B, so you want to ban all guns and leave citizens defenseless? Not what he said. The argument is we need more strict gun control. We don't want all these trans and mentally ill people running around with weapons. Appeal to authority. Argumentum ad versundiem. My Latin is horrendous, folks. This diet works. A famous actor endorsed it. Valid when the authority is relevant and there's a consensus. Fallacious when it's irrelevant or appealed to blindly. So, like, not all authority figures are just because they use an authority does not mean that it's a fallacy. So that's one you got to be careful with, folks. Appeal to emotion, probably one of my favorites, especially when I'm stuck against the wall. The fear: if we don't pass this law, your children will be in danger. And then the whole think of the children. Won't someone think of the children? You know. Anger and flattery, only a true patriot would support this. Appeal to popularity, so the bandwagon ad populum, everyone is switching to this phone brand. It must be the best. And then we have fallacies of ambiguity, so equivocation, which is shifting word meanings. This is a typical thing the lefties love to do. The sign said, fine for parking here, so I parked and got a ticket. It's not fair. You know what I mean? So it's like, they would say, oh, I thought the sign meant it's fine to park here. That's not what it means. It means you get a fine for parking here. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you got to be careful with this one, especially with the lefties. Then we have amphiloby. Amphiboly. God damn it, I'm retarded. Professor said on Monday he would give an exam. Unclear when the exam is. Okay, so grammatical ambiguity. Amphiboly. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. So again, we got to make sure that we're precise with our language as well. You know what I'm saying? This is what a key thing is. You want to be like Jordan Peterson says, but choose your words carefully and be precise. Then fallacies of presumption, faulty assumption. So begging the question, circular reasoning. The Bible is true because it's the word of God, and we know it's the word of God because the Bible says so. Circular reasoning. False dilemma. False dilemma. Oh my God, dilemma. We got a lot of llamas. Dilemmas. You're either with us or against us. That's a typical, like, especially when you see the friend enemy distinction, the whole team games kind of thing. You either agree with me 100% or you're the enemy. False dilemma, baby. We must choose between total open borders or building a wall. There's no middle ground. No, there's nuance there. You know what I mean? What happens if they fucking dig under the wall? We want to make sure that we close the border for good, as they say. Then we have the loaded question: Have you stopped beating your wife? Assumes you were beating her. Hasty generalization: I met two rude Parisians. Parisians are rude. Post hoc ergo propter hoc. After this, therefore, because of this. I wore my lucky socks and passed the test. Lucky socks cause good grades. Faulty reasoning, folks. The economy improved after the new president took office. Clearly, his policies worked. Or it could have been a delayed effect from the previous or even much longer before policies that were already passed. Like this whole thing of like you inherited a good economy. You know? The slippery slope fallacies. If we allow same-sex marriage, next people will marry animals and then society will collapse. Not sure about this one, folks. You know? Like furries is a thing. You know? But again, that's not contained within the actual argumentation here, but being able to point to the furry phenomenon. You know? This one's a kind of ironic. Not gonna lie. It is what it is. And yes, goat lives matter. We're now, oh my God, these motherfuckers. Hey. Drop you sticks. Motherfuckers. Hey, it is what it is. Appreciate you. I do appreciate the memeing. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. Chat is on fire tonight as well. The chat is popping off. I can't even keep up with chat with there's that amount of memeing and stuff going on. Appreciate you all. False cause correlation does not equal causation. Ice cream sales and drowning rates both rise in the summer. Ergo, ice cream causes drowning. You know what I mean? So, like, obviously, in the summertime, more people are going swimming. Means there's naturally going to be higher drowning rates, but also ice cream sales go up. But that doesn't mean that just because more people are buying ice cream means that like more people are drowning. Like there's no actual causation behind buying an ice cream and drowning. You know, day based. I'll try. You know, I got to have my we got to make sure. We got to keep it, you know, scientific, you know. Other common fallacies, the sunk cost fallacy. So anyone who listens to Dave Smith will hear about this 24/7, you know. Oh, like we have the sunk cost fallacy and all this kind of shit. It's like, I've already spent $5,000 fixing this old car. I can't stop now. Another common one is gambling. Where it's like, oh, I'm already down $20. I need to make these $20 back. You know, no true Scotsman, no true Christian would support that policy. You know what I mean? Or they're not a real Christian. You know, we have the genetic fallacy. That idea came from Marx, so it must be wrong. You know, the appeal to nature. GMOs are unnatural, therefore they're bad. Not all GMOs are bad. Yeah, sure, there's fucked up chemicals and all that kind of shit out there, but there are like same way we have like what is it? Basically like, you know, eugenics for animals, where it's like we breed like the biggest cows with the biggest bulls, and that produces even bigger offspring, and we get even more meat and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Not all technology is bad. Technology is the future, baby, as well as the youth. Moving the goalpost after evidence is provided. Okay, but that's not enough evidence, and this is why it's very key. And if you notice, Andrew is an absolute legend at doing this. Like, he ties down the definitions and all this kind of stuff, and then before he prompts them and he goes down the logic path with them, he'll basically kind of like say, okay, what would be your standard of evidence to refute this? Like, you have this belief, what would be your standard of evidence to prove to you that this belief is thing? And like I said, I've basically I've been trying to like get better at doing this and like pointing out, it's like, yeah, okay, so there's actually no standard of evidence. There's no evidence I can provide to you that would actually disprove this belief in your head. You know what I mean? It's like the whole like moving the goalpost thing, you know? To quote Quay, already mentioned, but very common online, you can't criticize my country's human rights record. Look at your own country. What about you? What about the Mendo? All this kind of shit. The fallacy. Your argument contains a fallacy, therefore your conclusion is wrong. Not necessarily true. Right? Because as we discussed with the... Where is it? As we discussed with the appeal to authority, there are some authorities that, like, you know, are trustworthy and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? So the conclusion could still be true by coincidence. Like, they could accidentally be like get the right answer, even though they're, like I kind of pointed out before, where it's like murder is wrong because God works in mysterious ways, or because God said so. Their reasoning is fucked. Flawed reasoning, but they do have the right answer. You know what I mean? So it's just being able to call out you call out the fallacy and you say, that's a fallacy and here's why it's wrong. You know what I mean? You have to explain why you're wrong. How to spot fallacies in real life. Identify the conclusion and the actual support offered. Ask, and again, the better you get at doing this, the better you'll be at kind of like deconstructing the likes of like Destiny, Vosh, Hassan, all these. Well, to be fair, they don't even make arguments at this stage. They just fucking repeat fucking slogans at this stage. They're just fucking reading scripts. Anyways, ask, does this actually prove the point, or does it just feel convincing? You know what I mean? And again, like Destiny's another one that kind of like, he plays the whole rhetorical game. It's like, oh my God, Trump launched this lawsuit. It's like, yeah, but he lost the lawsuit. Meaning, what have you got to fear? Like, you won the lawsuit. Oh, rejoice. Justice was done. Look for emotional triggers, personal attacks, or oversimplifications. So again, like, this is the whole thing. I'm a fucker for the emotional appeals. That's one of my favorite ones, you know? Personal attacks as well. This is something that you should avoid because it's probably the most easily kind of like defensible, kind of saying like, listen, what the fuck do I got to do with this argument? My argument is independent of me. All right, my argument exists independent of myself. And then oversimplifications, you know, where it's like, bro, you've simplified the shit, dude, down. Here's what my actual point is, right? And practice steel manning. And again, like a lot of people say, oh, but I don't want to steel man like a socialist position or whatever. It's like, no, better you are at steel manning, the better you are with understanding their position. And if you understand their position, you know where the flaws are, you know where the weaknesses are, and you know where to take the conversation. So steel manning the opposite's point of view it will make you better at being able to attack it. Restate the opponent's view fairly before critiquing, and just double check, say, is this your position? And then you run down it. You know what I mean? Check for missing evidence or hidden assumptions. Hidden assumptions is probably the most difficult one. You know what I mean? But obviously, like, there's missing evidence is probably more easier to spot and to call out. And why fallacies persist. They exploit cognitive shortcuts, system one thinking, so it's like quick and fast. It's harder to keep track of them and all this kind of shit. And this is why it's a good idea to slow down, to try and slow down the debate. Don't be rushing into answers. Don't feel as though you're pressured to answer quickly and all this kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, even just like practice like breathing slow. And practice enunciating your words. Even speak as slow as I'm speaking right now. Take deliberate pauses. But make sure you're not taking the piss and going too slow. They're rhetorically powerful, easier to make people feel than to reason carefully. This is again why I always say that my fallacy of choice is the emotional appeal. You know what I mean? I get out my wee little fiddle, like the leprechaun I am, and I start out tugging on the old emotional strings, as they say. You know what I mean? I could only get that slow on Adderall. Hey, this is what is one hell of a drug. Social media rewards quick, emotionally charged responses, and like I said, that's basically the game we're in at the moment. Mastering fallacies doesn't mean you become immune to bad arguments, but it dramatically raises your defenses and sharpens your own reasoning. It sharpens the wit, folks. Now we got to, would you like focus deep dive into one category, political fallacies or advertising fallacies? Exercises, I give you arguments and you identify the fallacy. More subtle and advanced fallacies, how we respond effectively when someone uses a fallacy. So again, we're going to do we have time? Do we have time? That is the question. We only got about 30 minutes left, folks. So kind of up to y'all what you just want to do at this stage. If we just want to troll, if we just want to chat back and forth with y'all, let me know, chat. Let me know. It makes me feel stuck in my brain. It makes every thought so painfully slow. I hate it. Well, one effect of it, if you're trying to cram an entire semester's worth of material in your brain just before an exam, pretty darn effective, you know? I see Jack knows, you know? I love my CBD isolate though. Hey, my man. Goddamn miracle drug. Took a long time to get my breathing, lung function back. Tar. People say, well, nobody got lung cancer from it. But common sense tells me that's probably not true either. Wait, what? What are we talking about? I'm apparently a fallacy machine. This is the thing, Shante. They are very difficult to spot, especially when you're in a 1v1. Especially when you're in a 1v1 and you've kind of like, you feel the pressure and you're so focused on your own arguments and you're not listening to your opponent or trying to call out your opponent, and they're speaking really fast, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like the heart is beating and the pressure's on, and now all of a sudden you start speaking really fast and you kind of get caught up on your own words and you don't know what, you know what I mean? Remember to just take a breath, take a chill pill, relax. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize there was so many fallacies. God damn, Jack, you need to get your ass on the Crucible Discord. They do debate club. You know what I mean? They'll help you out. They will help you out. Yeah, then look at some of the Shatter or RSO, etc. Crazy, man. We need to be inclusive in our acronyms. Do, for fuck's sake, I don't know. I can never type a sentence without a typo. It is what it is, Shante. It is what it is. I feel your pain. Reporter asked Trump, why do you think you're such a racist piece of shit? Exactly. And that fallacy is... We got LLM, Llama Lives Matter, Highland All Lives Matter. You love to see it. You love to see it. I know nothing of the sort. Yeah, don't work like that for me. I do all fallacies and everyday arguments. I don't care. If it works, it works. You know what I mean? And that's why I keep saying to people, like, on the one hand, there's people like Shante who are saying, like, all I do, I'm a walking fallacy and all this kind of shit. But the more you adhere to reason, the better your life will become. And it's hard to explain exactly how, given your specific position and all this kind of stuff. But everyone that I've met, like, the more and more they apply reason thinking, the better things become. Because when you think about, like, any, like, situation where you fucked up massively or you knew that you fucked up and all this kind of shit, typically when you think back, you'll be like, oh, I snapped, I got angry, I got a bit emotional or whatever, and I just kind of like lashed out, and there wasn't any reason for me doing stuff. You know what I mean? That's why, like I said, fallacies, reasoning. So I went on today's show. And also, chat, let me know if you enjoyed this style of stream, if you enjoyed the old teaching or study session, or if you're like, nah, Teriak, do another deductionist, or do another film room or whatever. But also there's the other type of individual who, like, they know all the fallacies and they intentionally avoid all fallacies possible. And that's where I say, nah, you want like one or two tricks in the bag, like the emotional appeal and all this kind of stuff, you know? Teriak, I was talking about the tar from my smoking herb did to my lungs, not Adderall. Oh, fuck, man. Like, that's the other thing as well, like, you know, combusting material, bruh. That shit can fuck you up. Woo, 2K subs. Wait, did we hit it? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I mean, yay! Oh, shit, boys. We actually hit 2K subs. So, one sec. Let me think. What would be the best day? I have to get my hair cut on Friday. And I might have to take, I don't know, I got something coming up in like the next week or so, I think. But it's kind of like an impromptu. I don't know if it is or if it's not. So I might have to take a couple of days off, either this week or next week. But within the next, I'll try get it done in the next week. But let's do a bit of celebration. Let's do a bit
I think it's safe to say that our luck has officially turned around, guys. We are back, baby. We are fucking back.
We're back. Yeah. Classic. We are back. We are back.
We're fucking back, baby. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you very kindly. Thank you very kindly, motherfuckers. Pretty big milestone, baby. You know what I'm saying? 2K, baby. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. One sec. I'll put out an LX post. Alright, just refresh it just in case there's any trolls or anything like that. But let's get her done, baby. So massive shout out and thanks to all my supporters. Much love from the leprechaun, making the dream a reality. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you guys. Shout out to you, legends. Like I said, making the dream a reality. Dude, am I saying a load of questions? Wait, what was that in reference to? Oh, yeah, sorry. A lot of questions, yeah. The Trump, the reporters on Trump. Constant. You know what I mean? Holy shit, 2K, baby. Let's play the clip again. Let's play the motherfucking, let's play a shredding clip. Are we having fun yet, folks? 2K, baby. 2K, let's go. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Started from the bottom, now we're here. And again, like, massive shout out to, like, obviously, like, our boy Speakeasy, all the love, support. That, like, one sec, let me track where this is. Where we at, baby? Where we at? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, even just 28 days ago, we're in 1950. Let's look at 90 days. We're at 1900. Look at the past, 365. Like, this time last year, we're about at 1600. Just over 1600, like 1630, 1629, 28-ish. So, we've been grinding hard, and there's one dude that's been, like I said, like, the raids and the support and the love. Speakeasy, shout out to you, sir. Eternally grateful would be an understatement. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, like, Crucible as well. You know what I mean? Like, helping me get monetized with the raids as well, initially with Andrew and all this kind of stuff. Massive shout out to Andrew, Rachel, the Crucible crew. You know, massive shout out to you. Obviously, in the legends in chat as well. The support at making the dream a reality. You know what I'm saying? Open it up so I can congratulate you, dude. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. We might as well. Might as well. For the last 20 minutes, boys. Just hit 2K, baby. 30 sessions, like a good stream to do for sure. I appreciate the feedback, sir. Thank you very kindly. We got Rainbow Pussy. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. We got Reexamination now. Welcome in, sir. Welcome in.
Hey, I just wanted to drop in and say what I said in chat, which was congrats, Teriak. Much love from the United States. Good night from the Western Hemisphere.
Appreciate you kindly, sir. Thank you very kindly. We got Dart as well in the building. Welcome in, Dart.
Thank you. Dude, congratulations, man. I've been waiting. I'm happy I was here for the moment too, because this is like my Friday night. So, fuck yeah, dude.
Congrats, bro.
Thank you very kindly, Pseudo.
Awesome.
Well deserved. Very good.
Now we have to do the 24-hour stream. So, like I said, I'm probably going to fall asleep for that, boys. Like I said, I am going to try to honestly attempt it. I'm going to be whacking the coffee into me. I'm going to think like maybe like next Monday, and I'll try to like blend, like try to do like a bit of like deductionist, maybe a bit of film room, like something like that kind of thing, you know, keep it kind of like interest and all that kind of thing, you know. But yeah, massive shout out to you all, and like I said, man, they're all legends, like turning the dream into reality. Like try to come up with like the terminology or the words to express like hitting a goal like that. But again, like I said, kind of like lost for words. Like it's kind of one of those things that like you never think you're going to get it until you cross it, kind of thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, dude. That's fucking awesome. You're amazing. I'm not gonna sit here and hijack your shit. I just wanted to say it and have you seen my face? You know, like you earned every bit of it.
100%, baby.
All right, I'm out. Yeah, I just wanted to say congrats.
Yeah, 100%, boys. Appreciate it. Thank you very kindly. Like I said, man, it's we got Jack as well coming up as well. Jack,
What up? It's a beautiful day.
it's a beautiful day. You know, get a little bono
Sun
going. You know,
Yeah, just like everybody else, just wanted to come up here and congratulate you on hitting 2K. Just like Darth, I'm glad I'm here for it. So glad for re-exam pointing it out.
yeah. Shout out to Riggs. I wouldn't notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, neither would I.
I would have been sitting here just going, it's like, yeah, let's talk about reason, baby.
Right, yeah. Just keep going, you know. But yeah, no, thanks for pointing out re-exam. That's amazing.
Because as we all know, you know, my mom took Tylenols. You know what I mean? You got to be patient with me. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like I said, massive shout out to you. Like, thank you very kindly. Like, I'm lost for words. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, like I said, man, it's one of those things that it's like you're kind of like, well, like I think that's kind of like with the passion with it. Like, you get kind of like so kind of drawn to, okay, okay, next day we're doing deductionist and all this kind of shit, and oh shit, we passed 2K, you know. And I think Easy's close to the 10K mark as well, which is like a massive milestone for him as well.
For
so
sure.
I think he's like what, like 50 away from 10K or even less, you know.
Yeah, it could be less now.
100%. So like I said, man,
Plus,
it's
you know,
like,
Chris is getting close to 1K, and then JS is close to 6 as well, like he was saying. So, you know, we're all right there. You know,
100%, baby.
It's nice to hit those milestones.
We're coming for these lefties.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's
We're not
good to
here to take
get the
part.
word out. You know.
We're here to take over. You know what I mean? We're raising a fucking army. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, it's totally different. Like you were saying earlier, you know, it from back when, you know, all we really had was a few kind of names here and there, you know, and the kind of the most prominent name was Steven. He had got taken off YouTube for that period of time, and then he switched to doing mostly the Rumble stuff, which I'm glad that worked out for him, you know. But you know, that at that time that was that was
This motherfucker. I'm gonna put you back down to 1999, baby, but we'll still party like it's 1999. You know what I'm saying? Shandy, they ban him. Shandy's giving him the boo this man. Wait, where's the clip? Where's the clip? Oh fuck, I can't find the clip. Oh shit. One sec.
Boo this man!
No, seriously, I love you, man. Like I said, man, like fucking, I remember, like I said, man, it was what, like 90 days ago or something like that. It was like 1600 or something like that. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a long while away and all this kind of shit. But
yeah,
like I said, man, like fucking, like with Easy, with all the supports and all this kind of stuff, like truly humbled, like lost for words, like, you know.
Yeah, but you know that now that this community is growing, you know, it isn't like it was before. Like I was saying with just Steven there, you know, now we have such a community and like kind of a constant stream where you can check out all these different creators and kind of you know, have entertainment and a structure to your day, to where if you want to watch something, somebody's on, and you know, everybody kind of has this nice value, and we can kind of bounce off of each other. I think that's really crucial.
100%. And this is why I keep trying to remind people who like are like blackpilling or like, oh bro, it's hopeless, it's just like constant kind of like, you know, doom scrolling or whatever. It's like, bro, go back and check, you know, like, because a lot of people, like, they don't remember, I
Yeah.
think, because it was like 10, 12 years ago at this stage where it's like, that's when it was like the heavy, like, they were going fucking heavy after us and all this kind of shit. You know, like, Crowder was getting knocked off YouTube. You look at
Yep.
Pierce Morgan and, you know, Jesse Lee Pearson is just saying, like, the factual comment of, you know, BLM founded by a bunch by black lesbians. I was like, we apologize for that language. And I was like, what? You can't even say the lesbians now? What the
Right, yeah.
fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And like I said, now we're here. You
Yeah, it's definitely a nice like a turnaround, and it shows like how far we've come with it. You know, I think honestly is that that was kind of their biggest mistake is going for the censorship, because I think it's now like as an example of today, like this is backfired. You know.
100%. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is why I say, like, never lose hope. Never, like, even if you're kind of like fucking backs against the wall and all this kind of shit, like, better to go down swinging than to just fucking like cave in and all this kind of shit. You know?
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. Never kneel to evil. You know.
100%, baby. 110%, baby.
But yeah, I just wanted to come up here, like I said, and like Darth said, I don't want to hijack the show, but yeah, just congrats on 2K. Glad I'm here for it. Let's focus on, you know, enjoying it for a little bit, and then going to 3 and beyond. You know,
to infinity and beyond, baby.
But yeah, I just want to come up and say that. So I'll get out of here now.
Appreciate you, and a machiwa to you, sir.
Machiwa, Reggie. Machiwa.
Machiwa.
Machiwa, sir. Machiwa. We got Darth back up. Welcome back, Darth.
Sorry, hold on. I lost audio.
Wait, what? What the
Yo,
fuck?
what the fuck is going on right now?
And just remember, though, folks, like, with all the shit, like, all, especially, like, you've seen it with fuck, I can't even speak. I'm truly lost for words. Like, think about, like, all the attacks that come after Andrew, all the attacks that come after Easy. Trust me, they'll be fucking saying all sorts about me. He's fucking gay, or he has a black ex-wife and all this kind of shit. Just remember, like, the haters are gonna come, but the haters are gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. And ain'ters gonna ain't.
That is not an actual thing people say.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And Shantae confirms that she's a lady man. Yay! Shantae sitting there going, "Whoop you dick." Right, that's why we love Shantae, you know what I'm saying? I'm gay. Don't hate. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, massive shout out to y'all. Like I said, if you want, like, go back and check that interview with Crazy as well. Give Crazy some love and support as well. He's another guy in the community. Where, like I said, like Crazy is one of the real ones as well. Especially because, like, he sits back and he listens and he kind of he observes and all this kind of stuff. That's another kind of key thing with the reasoning that we didn't go through today. Where, like, observation is key. And that's why I always kind of like say about like the Sherlock Holmes character, you know, like the empirical and the practical. It's like observation is a key thing to it as well. Like to observe certain shit, and like that's where I'm able to kind of like take all that, and we lead to that episode that we seen today, where that was like that's been building for like. Well, I would say probably the guts of like 2 years or so, where it's like you're kind of like you're seeing like this shit and kind of saying, okay, this is all going on here, and then but we also have this stuff going on here, and then how the fuck did these two link and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, especially for like people who are like, oh, like I don't have all the answers and all that kind of stuff, just sitting in and just like observing and then maybe asking that one or two key questions can still be very, very valuable in terms of either adding to the conversation or especially kind of going in and like I said, kind of even for your kind of own development too, but also like I said, kind of you know, trying to kind of at least like put the message out there, you know, because like I said, like there's a lot of people where it's just hopeless. They're like, there's no point in wasting your time trying to reason with unreasonable people. But there are people like on the right wing right now, and we're seeing it with the whole like Tucker Carlson thing and Candace Owens and all this kind of shit. Owen Schroyer is another one where they're like, oh fuck it, like I'm gonna try to punish Trump, and it's like, listen lads, like you're not gonna be able to punish, like Trump's out of office at the end of this term anyways. You know what I mean? So like voting against the Republicans is not gonna do jack. Trump is like, this is his last term, you know? So this is where we need to make sure we lock in and we finish the job. You know what I mean? And like I said, kind of like moving forward, like it seems, especially like as a European, it seems dark as fuck and all this kind of shit, especially with like just doing like the mathematics and all this kind of shit. But like I was trying to show you today, it's like the future looks bright, to quote PBD. You know what I mean? Like this stuff is going to turn around. Things might it might get worse before it gets better and all this kind of stuff, but that's why I keep trying to remind y'all, like go back 10, 15 years. Shit was way worse. And compare where we were 10, 15 years ago to where we are now. We're in a much better place. You know? We like I said, like just check out on X where we have, you know, like atheists going, oh, you know, you Roman Catholics should really, you know, like be worried about these Orthodox. No, you atheists are giving the game away. You guys are shitting yourselves because you could push around the Bible thumpers and all the stuff. Then the Orthodox, the Ortho bros showed up and y'all didn't got shit to say, boys. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. We got Pseudo saying Teriak, and look at how these haters wind up going down the tomfoolery books. What can I say, man? Like, haters gonna hate and ainers gonna ain't. You know? Like we're saying there, like JS is about to hit 6K. Chris is about to hit 1K. Easy's about to hit 10K. What can I say, baby? What can I say? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, lost for words, but massive shout out to you all. Yeah, lost for words, man. Lost for words. It's rare that I'm lost for words. I'm not gonna lie. He's all saying, "Oh yeah, well Teriak has no bother talking shit and all stuff." But when you sit milestones like this, hey, sometimes you gotta sit back and enjoy the you gotta enjoy the moments like this. You know what I mean? So again, salutes to yous, hats off. You know, like I said, it's just more fuel for the fire. You know, keep this shit burning. You know what I'm saying? I can do a panel if y'all want to keep going. Cheers to Teriak. You're talking about saying going live because I'm about to close up in the next 5 minutes or so, Dart. So if you want to start your stream and I'll raid over to you or redirect, as they say on YouTube. Just to remind you, like I said, man, he's gotta stay careful out there because as we seen, like, because I was the one, like, before Trump got elected, I was like, oh, yeah, like Tucker Carlson, all this kind of shit. And then all of a sudden they all switched. You know
what I
mean?
was saying, which is you cannot mock other people's gods and put yourself in their place, period. That is a deal killer for me. That's worse than the war with Iran, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I ask because, you know, you've been talking on your show about whether Trump is the Antichrist.
I have not said that.
On your show, the day after Easter, you noted he did not put his hand on the Bible during his swearing-in ceremony as president. you said, and I'm quoting, maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And then on a recent show, you went further saying, here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist?
I actually did not say, could this be the Antichrist? Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows? I don't know where that comes from, but I know that those words never left my lips because I'm not sure I fully understand what the Antichrist is. If there's just one, I actually tried to understand it. I may have said some are asking that. I'm not weighing in on that because I don't understand it. Just to be totally
No, in
clear.
Revelations, obviously, the
You know what I mean? So, like when we look at the likes of Andrew and all this kind of thing, Andrew stays true. You know what I mean? You're not going to see Andrew say, oh, I never said that, and then a clip to Andrew saying the complete opposite and all this kind of thing, you know? But 100%, 100%. We got Nav Voltaire. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, brother. How's it going?
Good, good. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Thought I'd stop in and just give my opinion on things later. I'm not going to give my opinion on right now, but because I was kind of somewhere else. But yeah, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go, baby. Any final closing thoughts and all this before we go over to our boy Darth? Make sure you give him a like and a sub when we head over there, folks.
Oh shit, you're raiding somewhere else right now.
Yeah, we're just closing off. We hit the 2K mark, you know, bit of celebratory. The boys came up.
Fucking
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
Oh, my bad. I got nothing else to say, brother. I think this is Terry. You guys all need to fucking subscribe to Terry. Well, for fuck's sakes, get a membership. Like, I mean, at this point,
100%.
it's ridiculous. And yeah, I'm cool with obviously, what am I gonna do? Stop your raid? Let's go.
Man,
Fucking
appreciate it. Any nuggets of wisdom? Any debates coming up or anything like that?
Oh, not for
Any
me.
shout outs?
What are you saying? Shout outs? You guys need to. Well, I mean, you guys need to follow Abe. Abe Dinkus. That's like let's fucking go. He's coming back. He's coming back. I mean, he's been on a hiatus for a little while, but find Abe Dinkus every night, and let's fucking go. And just help your boy Teriak out. Like, give the subscriptions, memberships, and fucking super chats. I mean, I don't know why people aren't, but yeah, let's fucking go.
100%, baby, 100%. Like I said, we're going to be going into our boy Dart. Like I said, we're raising an army, like you mentioned, Abe, the boys, Dart. Like, we're going to raise a fucking army. You know what I'm saying? So I have to read. One second. Let me just double check. I have to redirect there. We're ready to go. Yeah, we're going into Dart. Make sure you give him a like and a sub. I've got some more shit to catch up on. Like I said, you constantly got to be doing your research. You know what I mean? Because like I was saying in the previous stream in the talk with Crazy, like there's been shit tons of research that like amalgamates onto that, like history, philosophy, like all different disciplines, all this kind of shit. And when you combine it together, you can give the big picture as well. I just want to remind us all, to all the Americans out there, I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm simply just asking you to trust your president. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. I'll see you all tomorrow for a little bit of the Deductionists. Take it easy, folks.
Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life. And I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular.
I am your voice. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I say these words to you tonight. I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we